Now, Jurgen Klopp said last night his comments had been misconstrued when he said he'd like to see Liverpool's game against Tottenham on Saturday replayed amidst the VAR controversy. Let's get more on that and look ahead to a huge Super Sunday match at the Emirates with Jamie Carragher. Hello, Jamie. Before we get into all of that, I see you've gone back in time. You're back in the football changing room. What are you doing? Why are you there?
I'm at Liverpool Football Club. It's where I grew up as a young kid. So we still got a really good relationship. So I'm here at Liverpool because there's been new changing rooms that have been built, and it's to do with a scheme called Volunteer. It's volunteer. It's yourself. So that's helping young kids in the community learning trades, while also, as I said, helping the community, which is Liverpool Football Club, on this scheme. And these are the changing rooms that are being built, so hopefully helping the footballers or young footballers and coming here, place for them to get changed, but also young kids learning skills to build these changing rooms, and hopefully that'll help them in the future.
Great to see the trophies. I can almost smell the deep heat rub as well, Jamie. Let's talk about the Premier League, though, the VAR decision that's obviously dominated this week. And you yourself wrote in your newspaper column a quote that I picked out: Klopp has galvanised a siege mentality with his response this week. I wonder, are you suggesting that Liverpool might emerge stronger as a team off the back of that VAR defeat?
Well, yes, I think we've seen things like that in the past, where you feel like, you've been wronged or people are against you. Whether, people agree with that or not, sometimes that can bring a dressing room closer together. It certainly feels like the Liverpool supporters are even more closer and want to fight more for Jurgen Klopp. And I think that's normal. I think we've seen that in the past with other managers, whether that was, Sir Alex Ferguson, Jose Mourinho, who've used those type of tactics to bring people closer together. I don't think certainly Jurgen Klopp is using the situation deliberately to bring people together, but I think naturally when it's your football club and your set of supporters, you argue and fight your case, and if that can help Liverpool in the long run, maybe they may get something out of it more than the 3 points that they feel obviously that they deserve because of what happened.
Strong sense of emotion came from Liverpool, the club, and from their fans as well. We've seen all of that on social media. Now, we've all heard the audio from the PGMOL of that VAR decision. We've all seen the video now. What are your takeaways from it, and what can be learned moving forward?
When we take away from it, listen, it's a mistake. It's a really poor mistake. We know that, but I think also what got lost in what Jurgen Klopp said yesterday, he was very strong on the fact that it was a mistake. We all make mistakes, and no one needs to go after the officials or keep bringing this up constantly. It's happened. We've all made mistakes. Obviously, it's cost Liverpool in this scenario. We've probably never really seen a mistake sort of like this. In some ways, there's been lots of referee mistakes and VAR mistakes. That's natural. We're all used to that in the game. It's never going to be 100% factual in terms of getting decisions correct. But I just think Liverpool feel strongly about this one because we've never really seen one like this before, where the actual decision was to actually give the right decision. It just didn't relay itself to the pitch, and we all know the reasons why. But I'm sure there'll be new protocols put in now in terms of language and how you get a message across from the VAR hub to the match officials. So hopefully we can get something from this. And also, I think a lot of people have been asking for, whether the audio comes after games or in real time, as we see in other sports. This might be a step in the right direction where, things are a lot more transparent, and actually we hear the audio, and not necessarily just for poor decisions, for actually all decisions. So, at times it would be great decisions that will have happened in the past from match officials or people in VAR, because it's not just about, lambasting them for mistakes that they make. We all make mistakes. So, as I said, hopefully, we can all learn from that. But in the future, we'll hear a lot more about what's going on in there. And as I said, not just poor decisions, but good ones as well.
Would it eradicate this sort of thing if every VAR decision was actually driven by the on-field referee, like it is in rugby, where the referee will speak to his TMO and say, is there any reason I can't award this try?
Yeah, I mean, the Rugby World Cup's going on right now, and I'm watching games, and you see the communication between them. You can hear what the match official on the pitch is saying. And listen, every sport is slightly different. We have to take into account, it's not all the same. There's a lot more maybe stops and starts in different sports than there is football. So, yeah, but I just, obviously, it's the way the season started with, the officials and VAR. It probably hasn't got off to the best of starts. And it's not about just, as I said, lambasting them. You know, we're all in this game. We all want it to go as well as possible for all concerned. So, you know, we should all do as much as we possibly can to make it work for everybody.
Liverpool and some of Liverpool fans on social media came in for some stick from rival fans. But I just wonder, should all fans not feel some sympathy towards Liverpool and the way that they're handling this? Because actually, the way that they're handling it might be about progressive change.
Maybe, but listen, I'm not going to have a go at other supporters for having a go at Liverpool supporters, because that's just the nature of the game that we're in, the tribalism. You know, every other set of supporters would react the way Liverpool supporters have over the Tottenham game, and Liverpool supporters will probably be giving them stick. That's just the way football is. You know, as long as it doesn't cross a line, there's always been that there, you know, stick, and, you know, as I said, tribalism, and, you know, social media takes it to another level. It's not just in stadiums now. As long as it doesn't cross the lines that we all know that you can't cross, I've got no problem with that, because, you know, that's what football, you know, that's what makes football, you know, supporters, and, you know, you fighting for your own club, and also enjoying when another club's going through a little bit of a tough time. So, yeah, I'm not going to complain too much about that.
Yeah, no, we certainly do. This weekend for Liverpool, it's Brighton, a team that they failed to beat in 3 meetings last season. Really interesting comments from Roberto De Zerbi, who says his team is struggling with how much football they're having to play, with the added Europa League thrown into the mix. Do you think that'll be a factor?
Yes, maybe. I mean, from Liverpool's point of view, people always talk about playing Thursday, Sunday, but they've been quite fortunate in the fixture list. Has pitted them against 2 teams who've actually been in a similar position. So I think it was West Ham on the back of the first game we've played on the Thursday night as well, and now Brighton have played Thursday away at Marseille. So it makes it probably slightly easier maybe for both teams that there's 2 teams, you know, competing against each other in the same position. But I mean, a club like Liverpool are used to playing in Europe, used to having midweek games and that quick turnaround. Other teams aren't, and I think that for De Zerbi and Brighton, it's not so much just a physical thing. Sometimes it can be a mental thing, where normally you're getting ready to play a game once a week, and there's a 4 or 5 day build up, your training schedule, how you get used to it. So it is different, and it takes some getting used to when you're not you know, playing for a club who's regularly in Europe.
Ryan Gravenberch got his first Liverpool goal last night, helping them to a win in the Europa League. What have you made of his start at Anfield?
Yeah, he's made a really good start. He hasn't played as much as you know, McAllister and Szoboszlai, who've come in, who are big signings for the club as well. But there's certainly signs there that there's a really special player there, and it looks like he's got bags of potential. I mean, Liverpool were desperate to sign him before he went to Bayern Munich, and I don't know what went wrong there, but you can see why. There's certainly glimpses there that there could be a really special player in the next sort of 12, 18 months. But he has to make sure he gets a starting slot at this moment, because we shouldn't forget how well Curtis Jones has been playing before he got that red card at Tottenham. So, you know, he'll be fighting and thinking that position's his right now. But there's a lot of good young midfield players there at Liverpool now. It's been a, you know, huge turnaround from last season, when it looked like that, you know, the midfield was really old and getting on, which it was, but it'd been a great midfield and achieved a lot. So Liverpool are almost starting with a new midfield now, and it started really well.
The other big Super Sunday game this weekend on Sky Sports is Arsenal against Manchester City. City off the back of that defeat to Wolves last weekend. Is this a good time for Arsenal to get their big rivals?
I think so. I think on the fact of Rodri not playing, who I think is probably as good as any player in the world in that position. We've seen Man City obviously struggle at Wolves without him. And I think this is a big game to be out without Rodri. I think when you're talking about the top teams going away from home to the rivals, you certainly want your best holding midfield player in that position. So I think it's a game where Arsenal can get something from the game. I think there's had problems at times at home this season. I think Mikel Arteta has spoken about them getting a little bit too emotional, certainly in home games, and that's something they'll have to, you know, guard against, because City at this moment, as we know, are the best team in world football. But I think with the atmosphere, I think Rodri missing, you know, and I think for Arsenal, on the back of a couple of, certainly last week, but they had a poor result midweek away in Lens, you know, they'll want to come out, fight and show something, and I think they can get a result.
Yeah, they'll be sweating on the fitness of Bukayo Saka as well, though. He's gone off injured in each of his last 3 games against Tottenham, Bournemouth, and then in midweek against Lens as well. How crucial is it for Arsenal, especially against City, that Saka gets to play some of that game?
Yeah, I think it is. He's a special player, and the reason he plays almost every single game for Arsenal, because he is a special player. But I think that's the one thing you can look at with Saka. The one almost negative is that probably it feels like he is playing so much football, and you think, when's he going to get a break? And I think at times maybe Arsenal, even though you want to play him because he's so good and there's no real backup for him, you may have to just take him off the firing line now and again in certain games because, as I said, you can't afford to lose him. He's got to be looked after. He's a very young player, but he's a top player, and you want him on the pitch. But I think now and again, Mikel Arteta have got to look and identify certain games where they feel that they can maybe still win a game of football without him playing, because he can't just keep continually playing game after game.
No, what's your hunch for this weekend? How do you see the game going?
I'm going to go for Arsenal. I think Arsenal might just do it just with home advantage, and as I said, Rodri not playing, who's a huge player for Manchester City. So I'm just going to go with Arsenal, yeah, and that'll hopefully give us a title race between now and the end of the season, because we can't afford, you know, as I say neutrals, obviously I want Liverpool to be involved in it, but I think we want this title race to go as long as it can possibly go. And last season it did. I thought it was brilliant between Arsenal and Manchester City. But what we don't want to do is City be so far in front sort of as you get to Christmas and the New Year, where, you know, the teams lose belief, and it's not great for the league. So hopefully Arsenal can get the 3 points.
Yep, I know the red half of North London will hope you're right. Thanks for speaking to us, Jamie.